Hi everyone, I'm Lisa with Lisa's Stamp Studio. I'm glad that you've joined me today. I'm going to be teaching you a fun embossed way to create some depth on your cards using some sponging or daubering effects. I'm centering today's project on the beautiful Affectionately Yours suite using the embossing folder, the stamp set, the designer paper, and even the washi tape. The card is simple, but it'll provide stunning results. I would sure love an opportunity to earn your business. If you like what you see, you know you can buy all the products in my online store, and I offer great exclusive rewards for those that shop with me. Don't forget too, I have an online classes tab on my blog with all kinds of fun things for you to do stamping with me from home. Let's get over to the stamp table and let's start creating. Now you can see the embossing on this card. Isn't it beautiful? And I love this washi tape. You know, I'm all about the glitter and the little pizzazz here. But I'm going to focus on this embossed area here, and I'm going to give you some tips how to create color on those raised edges. We're going to begin with Watermelon Wonder cardstock, and this is cut 5.5 by 8.5. I'm going to use my bone folder to score this halfway mark, just so I have a nice crisp crease. I also cut a piece of crumb cake cardstock and a piece of the Affectionately Yours Specialty Designer Series paper, and it's going to end up getting layered here. But let's work on the focal point of our card. This piece of Whisper White cardstock is cut 2 3/4 by 3.5, and that's going to fit the embossing folder perfectly. These are the two embossing folders. They actually come together. They are on page 45 of the annual catalog, and you'll see them featured here just a little bit. Obviously, the embossing folders are in the back of the catalog, and yes, look, I do tab my catalog because I'm tired of trying to chase all over and find things. Quick tip, if you didn't know this, there is an accessory index in the back by page number. So let's say, for instance, you're looking for bags. All you have to do is look here underneath the B for bags, and it tells you what page, 176. So yes, that is a great little tip there for you. But these embossing folders are absolutely beautiful. They're called the Floral Affection, and you do get them both. So for today's video, I'm going to use the floral one. I'm going to go ahead and put my paper inside, and you know, I'm just not crazy trying to make the whole thing fit. If it fits, great. If it doesn't, that's fine too. So I'm just going to try to get the bulk of my design in the embossing folder. I have my Big Shot here. I'm going to put in the Big Shot platform. This is the new one that came out this year to replace the one with the tabs, and I love it because I don't have that long piece to fight with anymore when you're on different tabs. I'm putting a clear mat on the bottom to protect it. Here's my embossing folder with my paper and another clear mat over the top. So that creates what we call a sandwich. Now I'm going to tip this a little bit because I'm in a tight view here with the camera, with the tripod. And then all you're going to do is you're going to crank this through. I love that it requires no electricity, and you may have heard me say this before. Living in Florida, that is a big deal in the summertime when we get thunderstorms. It's not uncommon that sometimes I'm without power for an hour at a time. So there you go. I'm going to flip that over. Isn't that beautiful? Just another tip for you. The words Stampin' Up! Indicate the top of the embossing folder. So that's going to give you the raised image, which is why I turned it over. So there we go. We've got our image. Now we're going to add the color. I'm going to use the Crumb Cake ink pad. And this is a sponge dauber. I'm going to put my finger inside of there, and I'm going to dab. Even though I'm loading ink on here, and you really can't see it, it's there, trust me. But I'm going to rub some of it off on my scratch paper. I find that the lighter I work with, the more I can control this. I'm going to hold it, and typically I would tell you to leave it on the paper, but just so that you know, I am literally just trying to reach those raised areas. What I don't want is too much color down in the recessed area. So now that I've given you an idea, let me go ahead and do this. So I'm just going to work in light circular motions, a light hand. So if you had a bad day, this is probably not a project you're going to want to do right now. So all I'm going to do is just add some color to those raised edges. And I find by doing a circular motion, I can actually control better where it's going to go. Now, if you get some down inside, it's not a big deal. Don't let that bother you. But I'm just going to go around and around over those raised areas. Now, there's probably someone asking me, can you change colors? Well, of course. Let's say that you wanted this flower and this flower in a different color. Get a different dauber and use a different ink pad. Make sure you daub off first because I don't want it to make too dark and then you're not happy with it. Remember, you can always make it darker, but you can't make it lighter. Okay, so I'm going to concentrate on those and make those just a hair darker than the rest. So there you go. Now we've got coverage on that raised embossed image. This is the Watermelon Wonder ink pad, and I'm going to use that to add some flowers. So this is the coordinating stamp set. This is called Love and Affection. Lots of little pieces, but lots of fun because it's really versatile. And I've mounted a tiny flower from that stamp here. Now I am actually going to stamp off on my grid paper because if that's too dark for you, then you know you can get a shade lighter by just stamping an excess amount of color off. So I'm going to do a little bit of both. So I'm going to stamp off and I'm going to flip this around this way. I am going to add some flowers here and maybe a darker one there and then a dark one here and a lighter one there just to create some color. I'm using the Crumb Cake ink pad again, and this time I'm using a stem with some, I don't want to say buds on it. I think that's what I'm going to call it. Flowers with buds. And I'm going to add these in discriminative areas where I can tuck them in. And another down here. And you can put as many or as few as you like. That's completely up to you. All right, so now we've got our focal image. You may not think it looks like much now, but when you put this together, this is going to be beautiful. I also have an itty bitty tiny piece of Crumb Cake cardstock. This actually measures a 1/2 inch by 2 3/4, and this is where I'm going to stamp my words. I'm using the greeting, Sending Smiles, and this is from the Greatest Greetings stamp set. These are really fun, not your typical verbiage, and I think that's one reason why I really like them. My sticker, I took off on this, so I want to make sure I'm not going to stamp this upside down. And if you don't put your labels on your clear mount stamps either, always check here to make sure it's going the right way, and it is. So I'm going to stamp this. So I'm going to get way down here so I can see where I'm going. You gotta love that about clear mount stamps, right? Okay, now we're gonna make that banner tip. Here's the best advice I can give you. A lot of you tell me you can never get it centered and it looks uneven. Start by making a slit in the center of the cardstock. And then come from the corner and cut in on both sides. By making that slit first, you're gonna find that your banner tip is going to be perfect every single time. Okay, I took away the grid paper so that you can see me doing the mounting a little bit easier. So this was the base of our card. Remember, we cut our layers. So I'm going to take my snail adhesive and I'm going to put it a little bit in the 4 corners here. I'm going to layer it on that crumb cake piece. This is a very narrow border. And then this is going to go right here on top of the card. Kind of quiet, huh? It's one of those moments when you're crafting, you kind of get lost in what you're doing. And then this I'm actually going to add with adhesive. Now, you know me, I love dimensionals, but when I'm going to add the washi tape, I want to make sure I don't have what I'm going to call an elevation issue. So I'm going to go ahead and flip this around. I think, which way do we like this? Okay, we're going to go this way. I'm going to mount this in the corner. And I'm looking for an equal border of designer paper around here, just so it looks kind of even. I rub from the back because my hands are always yucky, always, always. This greeting is going to go up on dimensionals. So let me grab those. I'm going to put a couple on the back. I'm going to take off the paper backing. Did you see I made a boo-boo? I had to actually stamp it twice. Come on, we all do that, right? That's why there's 2 sides to every piece of paper. So I'm going to mount that down here. Okay, I like to give these a little flick with my finger to make them look like they're not just straight. Now here comes that beautiful coordinating washi tape in that same suite of products. So I'm going to take off a piece of the striped. Now washi tape is meant to be ripped. So I know some of you tell me, oh, I like to cut it. That's fine, but it's meant to be ripped. So I'm going to cut a piece there. And then here's that pretty metallic one. This is that copper. I don't know about you, but I think this is my new favorite metallic color in the whole wide world. And I am going to mimic that by going over it just a little bit and manipulating it towards the top. Now, was that easy or what? Now, I'm going to show you on my original card here, I actually stamped the words tone on tone. So I used the crumb cake on the crumb cake. But then I thought, I think I like this a little bit better. I don't know. Which one do you like? Go ahead and leave me a comment. I am so glad that you joined me today, and I do appreciate your online orders, and I like to bless you back with my free rewards program. You're going to get a bundle of PDF tutorials for free with a $25 online order, and of course, frequent buyer points, and everybody gets a hand stamped card that they can reuse. So head over to my blog and check out my rewards section there. I'm so glad that you've joined me, everyone, and I'll see you next time. Have a great day.